Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Kalba Momina. In today's video, we will explore the life of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Please stay with us until the end for insightful and inspiring content. Let's begin. The life of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Sons and daughters. Among the male children of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was Qasim. His second son was Abdullah, who was also called Tayyib and Tahir. Both were born from Hazrat Khadija, Razi Allah Anha. His third son, Ibrahim, was born from Hazrat Maria Qibtiyya, Razi Allah Anha, the Prophet's bondwoman. However, all of the Prophet's peace be upon him sons passed away in childhood. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had 4 daughters, all of whom were born from Hazrat Khadija, Razi Allah Anha. Hazrat Zainab, Razi Allah Anha, was married to Abu al-As bin Rabi in Makkah during the lifetime of Hazrat Khadija, Razi Allah Anha. Abu al-As converted to Islam after the Battle of Badr. During the Battle of Badr, when he was captured by the disbelievers, Hazrat Zainab, Razi Allah Anha, sent a necklace as ransom, which had been given to her by Hazrat Khadija, Razi Allah Anha, at the time of her marriage. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, recognized the necklace and, with the permission of the Muslims, returned it to Hazrat Zainab, Razi Allah Anha, and released Abu al-As on the condition that he send Hazrat Zainab, Razi Allah Anha, to Medina. He honored his promise and sent her to Medina despite the opposition of the Quraysh. When Hazrat Zainab, Razi Allah Anha, set out for Medina, the disbelievers created an obstacle, and a wretched man struck her with a spear, causing her to fall from her camel and get injured. Later, Abu al-As, Razi Allah Anha, also converted to Islam, and the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, maintained their marriage. Hazrat Zainab, Razi Allah Anha, had a son named Ali, Razi Allah Anha, and a daughter named Umama, Razi Allah Anha. After the death of Hazrat Fatima, Razi Allah Anha, Hazrat Ali, Razi Allah Anha, married Hazrat Umama, Razi Allah Anha. Hazrat Ruqayya, Razi Allah Anha, was 3 years younger than Hazrat Zainab, Razi Allah Anha. The 2 daughters of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, Hazrat Ruqayya, Razi Allah Anha, and Kulsum, Razi Allah Anha, were married to the sons of Abu Lahab, Utbah, and Utaiba, but the marriages were not consummated. When the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, declared his prophethood, Abu Lahab forced his sons to divorce them. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, then married Hazrat Ruqayya, Razi Allah Anha, to Hazrat Usman bin Affan, Razi Allah Anha. At their wedding, people said, "We have never seen a more beautiful couple." When the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, commanded his companions to migrate to Abyssinia, Hazrat Usman, Razi Allah Anha, and Hazrat Ruqayya, Razi Allah Anha, also went there. While in Abyssinia, they had a son named Abdullah, who passed away at the age of 5 months. Afterward, they migrated to Medina. The life of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. During the Battle of Badr, while the Muslim army was preparing, Hazrat Ruqayya, Razi Allah Anha, fell ill. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, left Hazrat Usman, Razi Allah Anha, with her for care, and went to the battle himself. When the messenger brought news of victory, the people of Medina were just returning from burying Hazrat Ruqayya, Razi Allah Anha. After the death of Hazrat Ruqayya, Razi Allah Anha, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, married Hazrat Kulsum, Razi Allah Anha, to Hazrat Usman, Razi Allah Anha. Hazrat Kulsum, Razi Allah Anha, did not have any children. In the 9th year of Hijrah, during the lifetime of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, his 3rd daughter also departed from this world. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, personally led her funeral prayer and lowered her into the grave. Hazrat Fatima, Razi Allah Anha, was born approximately 5 years before the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, declared his prophethood. When she was 15 years old, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, married her to Hazrat Ali al-Murtaza, Razi Allah Anha. From her womb, Hazrat Ali, Razi Allah Anha, had 3 sons and 3 daughters. The sons were 1. Hazrat Hassan, Razi Allah Anha, 2. Hazrat Hussein, Razi Allah Anha, and 3. Hazrat Muhsin, Razi Allah Anha. Hazrat Muhsin, Razi Allah Anha, passed away in childhood. The daughters were 1. Hazrat Ruqayya, Razi Allah Anha, 2. Hazrat Zainab, Razi Allah, and 3. Hazrat Kulsum, Razi Allah Anha. Hazrat Zainab, Razi Allah Anha, married Abdullah bin Jafar, Razi Allah Anha, from whom she had a son named Ali, Razi Allah Anha. Hazrat Kulsum, Razi Allah Anha, married Hazrat Umar Farooq, Razi Allah Anha, and they had a son named Zayd. After the death of Hazrat Umar, Razi Allah Anha, she married An bin Jafar, Razi Allah Anha. The prophethood of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. When the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, reached the age of 40, he was outwardly bestowed with the mantle of prophethood. According to biographers, it was the 8th of Rabi al-Awwal, on a Monday. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was engaged in worship in the cave of Hira when the angel Jibril, peace be upon him, appeared and said, "Ikra," read. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, replied, "I'm not literate." He said, "The angel Jibril, peace be upon him, embraced me so tightly that it caused pain, and then released me and repeated, 'Ikra.' I gave the same answer again. He embraced me once more, and then after releasing me, recited the first 5 verses of Surah Al-Alaq. After this, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, began to preach Islam, but the command to openly declare the message had not yet been revealed. Therefore, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, initially invited only his close relatives to Islam. That is why the first people to accept Islam were the Prophet's, peace be upon him, wife, Hazrat Khadija, Razi Allah Anha, his friend Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq, Razi Allah Anha, his cousin Hazrat Ali, Razi Allah Anha, and his servant Hazrat Zayd bin Thabit, Razi Allah Anha. When the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, invited Hazrat Abu Bakr Razi Allah Anha to Islam, he immediately affirmed the truth of the Prophet's, peace be upon him, message. Thereafter, he also began to secretly invite others to Islam. Through his invitation, Hazrat Usman Razi Allah Anha, Hazrat Abdurrahman bin Auf Razi Allah Anha, Hazrat Saad bin Abi Waqas Razi Allah Anha, Hazrat Zubair bin Al-Awam Razi Allah Anha, and Hazrat Talha bin Ubaidullah Razi Allah Anha embraced Islam. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, made Dar al-Arqam, a spacious house, his center. The companions used to gather there. This continued for about 3 years. Open invitation. When the number of companions increased significantly, the command from Allah Almighty to openly invite people to Islam was revealed. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, ascended Mount Safa and called out the names of the various tribes, gathering them all together. When everyone had assembled, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, began his speech and said, "If I were to inform you that an army is about to attack you from behind this mountain, would you believe me?" They all responded in unison, "Yes, because we have never heard you lie." The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, then said, "Believe in Allah and abandon false beliefs, or else severe punishment from Allah will descend upon you." This was the Prophet's, peace be upon him, first open invitation, which was met with strong opposition from his uncle, Abu Lahab. When the people learned that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was opposing the idols, they turned against him and began to harass him in various ways. They even plotted to kill him. On one occasion, during prayer, Abu Jahl attempted to crush the head of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, with a large stone, but when he approached, he was overwhelmed by the awe of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, causing the stone to fall from his hand. When the Quraysh realized they could not deter the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, from his mission despite all forms of persecution, a cunning leader, Utbah bin Rabia, was sent to offer him temptations. Utbah said, "Nephew, you are highly esteemed in lineage, but you have caused division among your people and insulted their gods. Today, tell me the truth. What is your purpose behind all this? If you need wealth, let me know. I will gather so much wealth for you that you will become the richest among us. If you desire marriage, we will arrange for you to marry the most beautiful girl in Arabia. If you seek leadership, we will make you the leader of Quraysh. If you wish to be a king, we will make you a king. If, God forbid, you are under the influence of jinn or any other force, we will find a good doctor for you." When Utbah had finished speaking, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, recited some verses from the Quran, which left Utbah astonished. Upon returning, he said to his tribe, "The words Muhammad, peace be upon him, are destined for greatness. My advice is to refrain from harming him and wait for some time. If he prevails over Arabia, it will be an honor for you because he is from your tribe. If the Arabs overcome him, then you will be rid of him." After hearing Utbah's words, the Quraysh said, Muhammad, peace be upon him, has bewitched him too. When none of the Quraysh's strategies succeeded, they began to persecute those who had embraced Islam. Hazrat Ammar bin Yasir's, Razi Allah Anha, mother, Hazrat Sumayya, Razi Allah Anha, was brutally martyred. This was the first martyrdom in the cause of Islam. When the persecution of Muslims intensified beyond endurance, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, permitted them to migrate. 12 men and 4 women migrated to Abyssinia, including Hazrat Usman, Razi Allah Anha, and his wife Hazrat Kulsum, Razi Allah Anha. The king of Abyssinia, Najashi, welcomed them and allowed them to live in his country. When the Quraysh learned of this, they sent Amr bin al-As and Abdullah bin Rabia to Najashi, requesting, "These people are troublemakers. Do not allow them to stay in your kingdom. Rather hand them over to us." The king of Abyssinia replied, "I cannot treat them harshly without investigation. I will not take any action until I have asked them about their religion." When Najashi inquired about their religion and beliefs, Hazrat Ja'far bin Abi Talib, Razi Allah Anha, stepped forward and said, "O king, we were ignorant people who worshipped idols, ate carrion, engaged in immoral acts, severed family ties, and behaved wickedly. The strong among us would oppress the weak. Then Allah showed mercy upon us and sent a messenger, peace be upon him, from among our own people. We know his truthfulness and trustworthiness. He invited us to believe in one Allah and to associate nothing with him. He asked us to abandon idol worship, to speak the truth, to maintain family ties, and to treat neighbors kindly. He forbade us from shedding blood, lying, and consuming the wealth of orphans. When we heard all this, we became Muslims." Upon hearing this truth about Islam, Najashi was greatly impressed and sent the Quraysh's emissaries back. The Muslims lived with respect and honor in Abyssinia for 3 months before returning to Makkah. Around the same time, Hazrat Umar bin al-Khattab, Razi Allah Anha, also accepted Islam. His conversion strengthened the Muslims, and after his acceptance of Islam, people began to enter the faith openly, and prayers started being offered in the Kaaba. The Quraysh then decided to demand that Banu Abdul Muttalib and Banu Hashim surrender their nephew, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to them, or they would sever all ties with them. When Banu Abdul Muttalib refused, the Quraysh wrote a pact stating that they would cut off all relations with Banu Hashim and Banu Abdul Muttalib, including trade and marriage. This pact was hung in the Kaaba. Under this agreement, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, along with all his companions and relatives, was confined to a valley. Except for Abu Lahab, all of Banu Abdul Muttalib, whether Muslim or polytheist, remained confined there. The paths to and from the valley were blocked, and there was no provision for food, to the extent that the besieged had to eat the leaves of trees. Seeing this situation, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, again ordered his companions to migrate to Abyssinia. This time, 83 men and 12 women migrated to Abyssinia. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his family remained confined in the valley, known as the Valley of Abu Talib, for 3 years. After 3 years, when the social boycott ended, the Prophet Muhammad's, peace be upon him, uncle Abu Talib passed away. After his death, the polytheists found an opportunity and began to persecute the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, even more. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, along with Hazrat Zayd bin Thabit, Razi Allah Anha, went to Taif to convey the message of truth to its inhabitants, but not a single person among them embraced Islam. Instead, they inflicted severe suffering and torment upon the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The children of the neighborhood were set upon him, throwing stones and hurling insults, to the extent that they caused the blessed feet of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to bleed. Hazrat Zayd, Razi Allah Anha, stood as a shield before him until his head was injured. Despite all this, the mercy to the worlds, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, did not curse the people of Taif. To be continued. Thank you for watching this video. If you're new to the Kalba Momina channel, please subscribe to watch more videos.